Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the EEARSS podcast, produced by Terrier TV and sponsored by Edna Wilson with Celebrate Remax Aerospace. Go find Edna Wilson at ednawilson.com for all your home buying and selling needs. What up, guys?
There we go.
Season 3
of the
EEARSS podcast. I think we're, almost 80 episodes in?
Something like that, yeah.
Mind-boggling. I just like the word boggling. It sounds weird when you say it.
So do you have it? You're all dry now.
I'm not dry.
Well, your hair's not.
I am dripping.
Yeah. We took a boat to get here.
Yes, all of us. So let me real quick introduce our guest for today.
Oh, yes,
and
let's do that.
Then we'll jump into kind of talking about all the other weird stuff that's been going on in all of our lives. Today we're on the podcast. We are joined by Tracy Frampton with the Florida Wildlife Hospital. Tracy, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We all got ridiculously soaked coming in here. It was quite entertaining.
Yes.
I remember at one point Bill goes, "I think it's let up." And we walked outside, and I was like,
"You were wrong."
This is not true. This is bad. This has always been a cool room, and it's legit cool today.
It's freezing.
Yeah, it's a little cool.
It's pretty nuts. So, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Over the summer, you did
I traveled a little bit, yeah.
Alaska.
Went to Alaska.
And the Midwest?
Went to Alaska, 18 days in Alaska.
Tell all about it. Tell us all about it.
You can't tell all about it. I mean, it was great. I would tell you what, a lot of people told me when you go to Alaska, the weather is, it's a crapshoot, whether, what you're going to get. And we were very, very fortunate. We had outstanding weather every day but one day. There was one day, but then it was just rainy and the cloud cover was really low. And it was the day that we were supposed to go flying over Mount Denali. And there were some in our group that really didn't want to do that flight. And
they willed it to happen.
It was like,
they willed the rain.
They did. It was like, God said, okay, you don't have to go. And you can get all your money back.
And it worked out that way?
Oh, yeah. So they canceled the flights. They canceled them. They did say, well, we can take you on this little 30-minute hop in a local valley. We'll go looking for wildlife if you want, in this little Piper cub if you want.
No.
And my brother and I said, yeah, we'll do that. And so we went up, and he took us up for like 30 minutes, and we went around. My head hit the ceiling 4 different times because you're just going boom. And he's like, you guys okay? Oh, yeah, man, let's go. And we had a great time. It was fun.
My anxiety would never let me enjoy that.
The other people that we were with, none of them would have done it either. No. It wasn't going to happen.
It's part of an adventure.
Oh, it is. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, chances are you're going to make it back from it, but if you don't, it was an adventure.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a good time, buddy.
It was a really good time.
So I think I've been to Chicago twice over the summer and to Belize once. So we went down to Belize and did some croc work and did had a bunch of fun. We ended up pretty much touring the entire country while we were down there.
Now, I know last time you went, there were a lot of restrictions. It was still kind of like
it was still COVID lockdown, yeah.
And lockdowns. How was it this time?
Yeah, that's pretty much all gone. They don't ask you for any type of information whatsoever. Before, you had to have your shot record to get in, your shot record to get out. You had to get tested before you'd leave, before you'd get in. None of that's going on anymore. There were lockdown hours down there. You weren't allowed out of your homes at certain times at night. Right. That was one of the nights I told you we got locked in the shrimp farm. I had to walk back home in the middle of the night in Belize City. It was pretty exciting. As a bunch of Americans in the middle of COVID lockdown, it was a blast.
Frank almost went to jail.
We all almost went to jail. It was great. It's funny. Anytime Marissa and I get together, which is our colleague down in Belize, she runs the Crocodile Research Coalition that we do research with, there ends up being some sort of craziness that happens. This time, there was none of that while we were on the trip, but we made it to some Mayan ruins, climbed some ruins, looked at some stuff. It was an epic trip. We have an intern that's with us right now. Her name's Rebecca, and she's actually just started her biology degree this week at UCF. So she's a youngin'. She's 21, and I had told her, I'm like, look, when it comes to working with wildlife, working with crocodilians, working with reptiles of whatever kind, whatever it is, I can teach you pretty much all that. Educating people, talking to people, having intelligent conversations with people, I can get you through that. What I can't teach you is what it's like to be a woman in a field where it's really dominated by men. And I can't have those discussions with you and help you understand that. What I need you to do is come down here with me, meet my friend Marissa, Learn from her. She runs her own nonprofit too, and also works with crocodilians. Learn from her. Watch her work. See what she does. Ask her questions. These are things I can't answer for you. So it was good. It was pretty epic trip. We went on another pretty crazy adventure a few weeks after that, but I can't get into that.
That one's confidential.
That one's confidential currently because that one's going to be continuing again next week when I head back to somewhere crazy to do some crazy stuff.
Eventually, that will be a story.
When that,
Yes.
Lord willing, if that works out, that'll be quite a story. But we'll let that one hang off until
It'll all be declassified at some point.
when it's unredacted. Yes, we'll get into that whole different story. But yeah, it's been a great summer, and it is what it is. But all right, so again, today on the podcast, we're joined by Tracy Frampton with the Florida Wildlife Hospital. I reconnected with Tracy again over the summer, actually a couple of times. There was one time I was randomly talking to Keith Winston, the Brevard Zoo, and he goes, "Guess who I'm standing here talking to?" And I said, "I don't know, Keith." I'm like, it could be.
It's a pretty wide open question.
It could be anybody. I mean, it's maybe an interesting question. And he goes, "I'm sitting here talking to Tracy Frampton," and I go, "Tracy Frampton?" I'm like, "Holy moly, man! She trained my Shelties back in the day." I'm like, "What's Tracy doing?" And he's like, "Well, she's doing stuff here for the zoo." And I'm like, "Wait, what's going on now?" I'm like, I got lost in translation somewhere or something. I'm like, "Were you talking about the same Tracy?" And he started chuckling and goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, we reconnected after that again when I found a bunch of possums and I walked into your place. Everybody knows I kind of have like a super affinity for possums. They're like, I think they're my favorite mammal. I'm sorry, humans. It kind of is what it is. I think they probably are my favorite. They probably are my favorite mammal. I love my dogs and stuff, but possums are so flippin' cool. I remember walking in there with a whole armful of possums, and you were standing there. I was like, "Tracy, like, what's happening? What's going on?" And you were telling me that you now are the director down there at the Florida Wildlife Hospital. Tell us the whole story. Tell us how long you've been down there and all about that.
I have been there for 8 years, and I had been in the zoo business for 28 years, and it was just kind of getting to be time for a change. And one of the volunteers I worked with at the Brevard Zoo, she did scrub jay work with me, butterfly surveys with me, and so we knew each other pretty well. She was also involved at the Wildlife Hospital, and when they knew that they were going to have an opening, she's like, what would you be interested in maybe applying for the position? And I've been frontline staff most of my career. I've been out in the field. I was a lead keeper for a while, but mostly it was frontline staff. I wasn't a supervisor. And that's a big transition to be an executive director. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm really qualified, but sure, I'll come interview. And they offered me the job before I got home. They called me. And there certainly was a learning curve, and there still is, but there was a learning curve. But I had such a good relationship with Brevard Zoo and their HR department and everything that I could reach out to them for ideas and suggestions and get some coaching along the way. And yeah, it's been a strange ride, but it's been very interesting.
So people hear about the Florida Wildlife Hospital. You guys are very well known for this is your 50th year.
It is.
You guys have been in the community, a cornerstone of helping wildlife here in the community for forever. 50 years is a long time here on the Space Coast. Tell us a little bit about how the Florida Wildlife Hospital has changed over the years and all the work you guys are currently doing. I remember looking at the write-up you guys had in the wall of all the different species of animals you guys had in there that you were currently rehabbing, and was blown away. Because I'm like, that ain't the biggest place in the world, you know what I mean?
Right.
How in the world, okay, one, that's got to require tons of people and tons of hours to keep all that going, and vets and everybody else. And tell us a little bit about the working pieces and parts of the Florida Wildlife Hospital.
Sure. So we are on 5 acres. Most people that drop off animals see we have a teeny tiny parking lot and a teeny tiny office, and they have no idea what goes on beyond that. We're in a 4,000 square foot building, and we have about a dozen pre-release enclosures outside, which is very very important for the patients. It's like somebody who's been in the hospital. You need to go through rehab and get your strength back. However, when people are in the hospital and they come home, they can still go to the grocery store. These animals have to be able to hunt and escape predators once they're released. So they really need to be in top shape. So we try and fix them up in the building, and then we send them out to our outdoor enclosures to get their strength back. I was painting today all day out in the heat because we have a new enclosure we're building that has 4 separate enclosures for hawks and owls, and we're getting close to finishing it. And we had a team from Home Depot Foundation out there helping, so I wanted to be out there working with them. So yeah, we wear a lot of hats there. So we see on average about 5,000 patients a year.
What kind of wildlife can you take in?
We can take in anything native to Florida and migratory birds, except we don't do alligators, we don't do venomous snakes, we don't do marine mammals, and we don't do sea turtles. We probably could only take a young bear. We're not set up for an adult bear. We have had an adult bobcat. We can take coyotes. We had one time somebody showed up with a bird nest about that big with 3 hummingbird chicks in it.
Awesome.
Bald eagles. I mean, you just never know what's going to come through the door. And that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, I know we were out doing research not too long ago, a couple months ago, and came across a bald eagle that was injured. It was a fledgling, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife met us out there and secured it. Jim Lyon did, and he took it and dropped it off to you guys. So without you guys and what you do here on the Space Coast, and really, it's kind of all of Central Florida. There ain't anybody else that's doing it to the level you guys are doing it.
Correct. There are some other rehabbers doing it out of their homes, and they do a good job. They just don't have the capacity that we have. We have 10 full-time employees, 6 part-time employees, about 80 to 100 volunteers. We have a couple of contractor folks. We've hired our first ever vet on our 50th year.
Awesome.
She's part-time and she's a contractor, but she was working. She volunteered with us for a bit, started working with us. Most of her career was with companion animals, so she didn't have a lot of experience with wildlife. So she came in as an entry level, low as low, because she just wanted to learn wildlife, and then we moved her into our vet. I'm hoping we can move her to full-time next year, but that all takes that.
It does.
And we don't charge ever for our services. So 5,000 patients a year, we never charge. The only thing that we really charge for is if we come to do a program for you with our ambassador animals. So yeah, it's a lot to keep going on donations. And we really appreciate everybody that brings animals into us, that they care enough to put it in a box and bring it in. So
Yeah, I know our family has always been one of those that if somebody calls us and asks about where to take animals, we always mention you guys, and we're always like, man, if you take something and drop it off there, leave them some money with it. Like leave them something with it, because it all cost money.
Right.
Yeah, it isn't
Right.
free for you guys to just randomly take these things, and they don't feed themselves. They don't take care of themselves. They don't go take and drop themselves back off in the wild again. There's a bunch of pieces and puzzle pieces to the whole thing.
For sure. And a lot of times we've gotten really good in the last couple of years of renesting. So somebody brings us a young bird or a fledgling bird. If they're willing, we ask them to take it back. We give them instructions on how to do that.
That's awesome.
Put it in a basket that will drain if it rains. Put it back where you found it. The parents show up. We have so many videos of the parents coming right back. Owls are especially good at that. Great horned owls are big, majestic birds, but they're terrible at building nests. And so we do get a fair amount of great horned owls that fall out of the nest, and we just go back. If we can get a tree company to help us, we put a laundry basket up in the tree with some, pine straw or whatever, put the chicks in that. And I've been able to do that before. And before we even totally lowered the lift, the parents fly right back in and like, ooh, this is nice.
And that is such an important myth to dispel in our society, because so many people are under that misguided belief that if a bird falls and you touch it, the parent won't take it back. They'll smell you. They'll abandon it. No, put it back.
Yes,
put it back.
Absolutely. And that's true with the mammals as well. The mammals are even better because they can actually pick their babies up and carry them. And we have a lot of video of that as well. Possums are about the only ones we don't really try and re-nest, because Mama Possum has so many babies, she doesn't count. And, when they start coming out of the pouch, and she sometimes drops them. So those, we don't necessarily recommend that. But for the squirrels and a lot of the songbirds, we really try to get them back. And our front desk staff is really good. And she'll run out and put a box up with some bark on it. The woodpeckers are going right back in. I mean, it's just so neat to see that when that works.
I know a lot of times, like when I dropped all those possums there recently, some people think animals, we deal with a lot with alligators, of course. People think the animal is a baby and don't realize it's actually well beyond the time it's with its parents. And, you had told me that with those possums. I'm like, I remember I asked you that. I said, at this size, they're the size of my hand. Are they already beyond being with their mother? Or are they already on their own? Because, they were with the mother on the side of the road, but like, could they make it on their own? Could they not make it on their own? What are some of the biggest misconceptions, other than, of course, what we just covered with the birds, that you see with wildlife care or wildlife rescue?
A lot of people want to do it themselves, and even a week of them feeding the wrong food can start to cause metabolic bone disease, which can lead to fractures. It makes the bones weak. That's the biggest thing that we really try and emphasize. Please get this animal to us right away, because it needs to have the right food. A lot of people try and feed things and they can aspirate. Oh, well, we gave it a bunch of water. No, don't give it anything, please. So those kinds of things are really important. The sooner you can get it to a rehabber, the better its chances. Plus, pretty much almost any species we get, we have more of them. So they're going to be raised with conspecifics, and they won't imprint on people like they would if you have one in your house. And once they get imprinted on people, there's likelihood of success in the wild is not good.
Yep, not a whole lot you can do from that point, is there?
Right, no.
So of all the different species you have come in, I'm sure you have your favorites. What are your favorites?
Don't really.
Oh, come on, Tracy. You don't have a favorite?
And even in all the years of working in zoos, I've worked anything from endangered insects to elephants. And I just find everything so fascinating. I just love the behavior. I love the look. Maybe loggerhead shrikes. They are extra cool.
Yeah.
But really, I just find all the species so interesting, and it's just so wonderful when you get to release them back in the wild again.
I was telling Bill and Cindy about spotted skunks and how awesome they are.
Oh, they're so cute.
Do you guys see quite a few come through? Not quite a few, but a few.
We don't get many, but we have had them, and we have released them. We've had pups come in, and we have been able to release them. They are adorable.
Like the cutest animal you ever seen that'll do a handstand and do every dance on the planet for you. Yeah. So you were telling me a little bit about your background. So I knew you were doing stuff with scrub jays. You were doing scrub jay relocations. You said you had a zoo background.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I started out with a zoology degree. And I was still working the same stupid summer job I'd worked after I graduated from college because I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I had a heart-to-heart with my folks, said, I'm not getting anywhere. I really want a job. I want to just take the truck and go and find a job. Their only stipulation was you have to go visit your brothers, so I know you'll be safe. One brother I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
One brother's in South Carolina, one's in Maryland. So I went to South Carolina, visited with him, handed out resumes, all the drive down, blah, blah, blah. Then went to Maryland. When I was in Maryland, I got an interview at a zoo in South Carolina. And that was, I had applied for a mammal keeper position. They had already filled that, but they wanted to know if I wanted a bird position. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. You'll get my foot in the door. I can never stress enough, you never know where these opportunities come from. I got this bird position. I was working with a bird researcher because we were raising some finches for him. And he does a lot of work in Africa. And I said, well, next time you go back to Africa, I'd love to go with you. Well, I ended up getting to work with him for 3 months in Cameroon studying these birds. Then that led to other trips. I was able to go to Belize and Costa Rica studying manakins, which are a really cool little bird. I went to Venezuela and studied white-faced saki. So I've gotten to do, and it would never have started without getting that bird position. So I was there for 5 years in the bird department. And then I moved to Rhode Island, where I met my now husband. He was an elephant keeper and I was a penguin keeper, so we always argued about who stunk more. And we always thought it was the other one. So he moved into design and construction and is at Brevard Zoo.
Okay.
I was doing Central and South America species, all birds, mammals, reptiles. Then we moved
now, hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Where in Rhode Island?
Roger Williams Park Zoo.
Okay.
Yes.
I grew up in Seacock, Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And used to walk over to Slater Park, which had a little zoo.
Yes.
And they had tigers. They had tigers and they had polar bears. And it was the weirdest little thing because you just walk over there. But it's cool.
Yes, I worked polar bears at Roger Williams also, penguins and or of course, if you're from there, they're poulabiers. And it took me a while to figure out what that meant. What do you mean, where are the poulabiers? Polar bears.
Polar bears, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So we were there for 8 years, and then he got a job in Oregon at the Oregon Zoo. So I followed him. We got married while we're there. Then we ended up down here. He had actually my husband's grandmother lived in Titusville, and he came down here for an interview, and it was really nice. She lived about 7 months after we moved here, so we got to spend some time with her. But that was really nice to kind of come full circle.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I had kids at that time, so I was working part-time at the zoo. Doing animal registrar work, and then I moved to the conservation department, got to work with the Perdido Key beach mice and the scrub jays, and every friends laugh, but I say that doing the scrub jays, it was just, I loved just getting out in the field, and I had a job where I could pee in the woods, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I would 4-wheel drive up at Buck Lake by myself, finding the birds because they were all color banded, so we knew who was with whom, and it was really a neat project.
Wow. See, okay, so when I met you, when you were working at it was Buckingham Palace, at that time I had no idea any of this. I had no idea that your background with wildlife. I had no idea. I knew you were an amazing dog trainer. I knew you were. My Sheltie would not bark at me quite as much, and he wouldn't nip at my ankles quite as much, and he loved running through tubes and over things, and he'd still look at you like, yeah, but why? But okay, this is cool and all, but why am I doing this? Oh, because it makes you happy. Copy that, yes sir. Okay, now I understand what's going on. And then I remember meeting you with the whole scrub jay thing, and discussing that with you, and then I started going, this lady wears as many hats, if not more hats, than I do in the wildlife world, which there ain't many of us that can say that, I was like, wow, she is impressive. So it's so neat to see you up here running this organization now, again, which is a background, a backbone, like a true spine of the area organization, keeping everything kind of held together, animal rescue wise. It's just mind boggling. Anyhow, I digress. I digress.
I knew we wouldn't make it a whole episode. I knew
it's
it.
one of my favorite terms.
Without him digressing.
So you said you guys now with your 50-year anniversary are having monthly open houses to kind of learn more about the organization, how you guys run it, things of that nature?
We have so many longtime donors that have no idea. We try to explain it. I brought a newsletter. We try and show things in our newsletter, but without seeing it yourself, you just don't, it's hard to grasp what all happens behind the scenes. And so we thought, in honor of our 50th anniversary, you're not really supposed to have people in your animal areas because they need to stay wild. So we're not open to the public. But with these small guided tours, they can see what's going on. They may not necessarily see many patients, but they can see the facility. They can see our really awesome digital x-ray machine and our cold laser therapy machine and our womb vac machine and all the different rooms that we have. And then we can walk out on the property and they can see we have 100-foot flight cage because the larger raptors are required to have 100 feet to strengthen their flight muscles. So we have a 100-foot flight cage in addition to all the other cages we have. So they just have no idea. So we thought, well, we'll do that. We'll just do one a month. Well, they filled up so fast. The last few months, we've actually been doing 3 to 4 a month. We were just going to do it for this year, but I think we'll continue them next year because they have been very popular.
I say it's got to be a great way to renew funding too with people and renew memberships when they see all the incredible things you guys are doing. They can see it firsthand and go,
right.
Oh, that's what my money's going toward.
Right.
Let's do more of this.
Yes.
That's ingenious.
Yes.
Ingenious
yes.
and needed.
Yes.
Needed and ingenious.
For sure. And we get a lot of people that sign up that aren't even members. It's a little higher cost for them. It's $10 for members and $15 for non-members. But then we get a lot of those people join after they see the facility. So
transparency and being straightforward with, especially with nonprofits and the stuff we're doing. Anytime you can include people with the work you're doing and kind of especially behind scenes like stuff like that, that's great. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. September 30th, you're having an event. Man, that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
September's like right here.
I know.
We're moments away from
Yeah.
September. I can't believe we're 2 weeks away from September?
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
talk. You have an event running wild?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
We've done a 5K trail run for several years now at Wickham Park. So it goes through the trails and then on the road as well. So that's pretty neat. We found that it's so much work to put on a run that we decided not to do it this year. And Running Zone was like, you know what? Running Zone Foundation would like to do it and give you the proceeds.
That is
so
amazing.
You just show up, bring your volunteers, because we need your volunteers. Bring your animals, show up, and they're doing the work. So you sign up at Running Zone.
That's
They're
huge.
still going to do it. We, of course, won't make quite as much money, but it's
The stress that's off you guys from that doing that's got to be
it's a
humongous.
great event. We really like to be able to do it. So, yeah.
So, okay, so that's September 30th. If people want to sign up for that, they go to the website?
Running Zone.
Running Zone. You guys
Yes.
have the links to that on your website?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And let's see, November 18th, which again, we're so close to the end of the year.
I
I keep
know.
thinking about this now. November 18th, you have Hoot in the Park.
Yes.
That's also in Wickham Park?
Yes, that is in the big pavilion at Wickham Park. We have vendors, small businesses there. Lure Course Brevard always sets up her dog lure course. So her followers, because she has regular followers that do it anyway, she donates all the proceeds from that for our event. So, and she usually does a smaller lure course if you've never done it before and you just want to try it with your dog. So she has 2 lure courses set up. We have our ambassador animals there. It's Small Business Saturday also, so you can support small businesses. Santa will be there for your dog photos with Santa.
I do that every year. I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there. And we're really trying to grow it this year. And we've gotten 2 presenting sponsors, Subaru of Melbourne and One Sotheby's International Realty are both presenting sponsors this year, which is really awesome.
Epic. Yeah, it's epic.
Yeah, we're really excited about that.
That's one of the many things we love about this podcast and doing things like this. When you have nonprofits and businesses, we have to be supporting one another. It doesn't work otherwise. We got to be giving the light to everybody else and kind of letting them get their voice out there and things be heard. So it's where it's at. I'm glad to hear so many people down there in that end of the county and all over supporting you guys and what you're doing. So I had one question based on what you asked earlier. You were talking about great horned owls falling out of nests. My brain, as soon as you said that, went to the weird fact that I know great horned owls steal nests from bald eagles, right? So I wonder if those great horned owls, the young ones that are falling out of nests, are their parents nest thieves that they haven't got used to the nest and they didn't build it right and they fell out of it? I mean,
Could be.
am I overthinking it?
So
No.
you're trying to blame the owl. Is
Yeah.
that I'm
That's what
hearing?
it sounds like to
That's
me.
what I'm
Like,
hearing.
I'm just-
Very
That's what I'm
victim
hearing.
blaming.
Yes. Yeah.
No, just as soon as you said that, I went,
It's the owl's fault.
no, I wonder if those are the nests that they've stole, that then their kids fall out of it and they kind of go, man, if I wouldn't have stole that nest, this might have never
Then
happened.
they wouldn't have a nest, Frank.
Well,
Yeah,
in
no,
retrospect, I could have built one of my own and not been a nest thief.
I bet the bald eagle nest is much better than the great horned owl.
You're
nest.
right.
So-
Yeah, you're probably
Kind of a
right.
step up. you know?
Yeah.
They went
That's-
into the hotel suite.
Yes.
Of that, yeah.
Yes.
the corner suite. Okay, so do we have trivia?
That's a good question.
Do we have
Do
trivia?
we have trivia?
We have
We've
trivia.
got the thumbs up from
Okay.
the control room.
Control room. Tell us about our trivia.
Tell us about
Introduce yourself and tell us about our trivia.
Okay, so I'm Maddie. I'm giving you shark trivia.
it. Shark trivia.
Okay, how many shark trivia questions do we have?
I can do 5.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll stop talking.
So the first question is which term is used to refer to baby sharks?
I feel like I should start singing a song.
Are-
Yeah, don't sing the song, man. Don't do that.
Do you know this one, Tracy?
Are they pups?
They are.
Ooh,
Wow,
there
nice
we
job.
go.
Good job.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you have the upper hand, though. Both of you
We don't
wildlife
do
people.
sharks.
That's right. You don't do
I say I
marine.
don't play with sharks either. So I honestly went, I don't know that I know this or not. I'm not sure. Good question. Okay, what's
All
next?
What is a shark's skeleton made of?
Ooh, isn't it cartilage?
Yep, pretty sure.
Cartilage.
Yes, it
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Cartilage.
How many teeth does a great white shark have?
Are we including all the rows of teeth too?
Yeah.
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 All the teeth. Yep.
756.
No.
That's a very specific number.
Well, okay, that was your guess. I liked the guess. It was fair. Are we going with a number higher or lower than that?
Just guess.
Oh, she's like you.
Oh,
You
she's
do not get any layups.
She's not helping you.
Tracy,
That
do
is
you have any
definitely
ideas?
my child.
say
250.
I was gonna say 300.
Frank's right.
Are you serious?
300.
He got
That's
it
the,
right.
the first
Job.
question I've got right in a long time. So yeah, I'm proud of that one. Thank you. Okay. All right. Two more.
Yeah, 2 more.
Two more.
What shark is responsible for the second highest number of human deaths?
I would say tiger shark.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiger shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were on a roll.
Well,
He knows his shark.
I remember. So in Belize, I'm blaming Marissa's daughter on this one. In Belize, her daughter I think just turned 9 or 10, and we were sitting there watching shark videos, and on YouTube, she's like, "Watch shark videos with me, Frank." And I said, "Oh, okay, let's watch shark videos." And something came up where they were filming tiger sharks, and the guy was mumbling about tiger sharks, and somehow it stuck in my head. I'm not really sure. Sorry, mumbling guy about tiger sharks. I apologize. All right, what's number 5?
All right. Number 5 is what is the name of a group of great white sharks?
I don't remember this one from the video.
Well, let's see. There's a pod of whales, so it wouldn't probably not that.
It's a murder of crows.
Murder of crows. There we go.
That would be appropriate.
Right. I
It
feel like
would
they
be- it
missed
would
the
be
mark with
appropriate.
that.
Yeah.
Although I get the idea that great white sharks, like a lot of critters, get kind of a bad rap.
Right.
So
Aren't they kind of solitary creatures, though?
I understand they're supposed to be a solitary animal. I'm sorry, shark people. We need to have a shark person on. We actually have it lined up for a manta ray person to be coming on.
Nice.
Which again, I know nothing about. So I don't know anything about anything. It's every
Okay,
now and then
man.
I-
Would it
I
be a
guess how many-
school?
Is it a school?
It is a school.
Whoa,
Oh,
Tracy!
there we go.
Killed it.
Good job.
awesome.
Good job.
Wow.
I was going to say gaggle.
it
That
did-
just
A
seems
gaggle.
like it
I
would
would-
be called that.
I would have never guessed. I mean, you think about a school being a reasonable reply, but I didn't have the guts to say it. So I mean, I was like,
There you go. There you go.
I didn't have the fortitude to say such a thing. Tracy, thank you so much for being on here and chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
So we have a couple other things to talk about here real quick. We have an EcoFest event coming up on January 19th in Cocoa Village. That'll be literally a 9 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night event. We'll be doing presentations in the Civic Center, which is on what? Is that Delaney? I think it's Delaney.
Yeah. Yeah,
We'll be
Delaney.
down there on Delaney from 9 to 4 inside the Civic Center, and then we'll be taking a nice 1 hour break while we all try to rehydrate and recover from the day inside, which shouldn't be that bad. It's an AC. And to outside, where we're going to be having live music from 5 to 11 in the amphitheater, which is about 30 feet back from it in the back side there. So yeah. Well, we have our main sponsors for that so far are Pat Fisher Nissan, Brevard Zoo, which again, another organization that's, as Tracy can tell you, is another keystone part of really Florida and the work they do. And they're doing between the stuff they're doing with Indian River Lagoon and the new aquarium project, they have their hand into so many conservation projects that wouldn't happen without them. I mean, it's again, I could go on and on. Kelsey's Pizza up here in Titusville, the Space Coast Executive Jet Center, Lamp and Media, and Ford Animal Rescue Mission. You might not have heard about them yet, but they're up and coming. I'll have to chat with you about them. That's coming up. We're going to have more information about that on ears.org. Did you know that we have ears.org, ears.com, and alligatorrobb.com? Why I never say alligatorrobb.com, I have no idea, because it's a lot easier to grasp than
people
ears.
just go, I know how to spell Alligator Robb.
Yeah,
I don't know how to spell ears.
2 B's, guys, 2 B's. But anyhow, I'm not going to digress. I'm just going to pretend like I didn't say it.
But you already have.
Too late.
Yeah, sorry, too late.
Too late.
Tracy, again, thank you so much for being here and chat with us. Guys, appreciate you all being here. Episode 1 is in the books. We'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye.